right, good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and welcome to Friday. Yeah, whew, we made it. It's been one heck of a week, I'll tell you that. I'm joined, as I am every day, with my partner in crime, Jason Walker, up there in the mothership. And Jason, it has been quite the week this week. Okay, thank you. I've got stuff going everywhere. Phones have been ringing off the hook. 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. Today is going to be whatever's left on silver. I'm going to give you what's left on silver, and then Jason, I'm not sure where we go from there.
I think we just do the best we can. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. I have a little quiet in my ear, but I don't know where we go from here, Joe. It's we see what happens on Monday. As it seems like gold and silver is going to keep pushing upward. It tried to have a little bit of a pullback, but it looks like it's going to keep going up, Joe.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be a straight line, but we got both markets, gold and silver, are pretty flat today. As Jason said, while we were sleeping, there was a pullback. Silver held $25, gold held $18.50. And again, it's not really going anywhere fast anywhere. Gold right now, $1,863. Silver, $25.30. Silver's been as high as $25.50. So now, Jason, just let Jack know I've got the echo going. So,
okay,
$25.50 right now on silver. We've got 15 rolls. That's better. Whoever did a great job fixing that. 15 rolls of Silver Eagles left, and then they're going to be back to unavailable. Those are at 7 1/4. And again, we just wait. The only way I'm going to get Silver Eagles right now is going to be someone sells them to me. They're going to be backdates, which is great because the backdates, everybody else wants to charge you $40 for them. We don't do that here. Right now, rolls of silver dimes. Now, dimes, quarters, $50, those are still available. But I want everybody to know this is the last from the bagman, which when I buy them from him, I buy them for quite a bit less. I mean, we're talking at least $1.25 an ounce less. So, just kind of do the math. Once we're out of here, you're going to see dimes go up anywhere between $2.50 to $5 a roll. Quarters probably going to be $10 a roll higher as well. So we have 70 rolls of dimes, and I'm still waiting on a number for quarters, but I think we got about 50 rolls of quarters. So the dimes are at $1.20, the quarters at $2.40, the Silver Eagles at 7 1/4. And then on Silver Eagles, again, I may be out. I could come back Monday. I could find some. Hey, Monday I got a few more. But Silver Eagles is going to be between 0 and whatever I could find between now and at least the middle of January, middle to late January, because that's when the 2022 Silver Eagles should be hitting the streets. And then junk silver, we'll still have them. The prices and the premiums, Jason, will just be higher. And now I lost Jason. So 800-951-0592. It's live radio, and it's Friday, so this is all to be expected. It's been quite the busy week. We're going to talk about JBS, the world's largest meat packing company, and they were out last night. Their head of their North American operations was talking to Bloomberg and saying, here's where we're at right now with meat. We only have we're operating at capacity for the amount of employees we have. We cannot produce any more than what we're currently producing. We don't have enough help. And again, what simply that just means, is JBS isn't willing to pay enough yet to get enough workers. Listen, they can fix the problem. They can fix the problem. But by them fixing the problem just means that meat prices are going to get even more expensive. JBS says right now that all of their employees are working as many hours as they want, and they're running into a situation where employees are saying, listen, that's enough overtime for me. I'm not working today. Right? I'm not scheduled to work today. I don't want to work the overtime. That they cannot grow production in their pork and beef operations. Workers are opting out of weekend shifts, i.e. overtime shifts, and says that these meat prices, which have been rising at the fastest rates in 40 years, are not going down anytime soon, and says that that whole transitory narrative does not apply when it comes to JBS. And again, their issue is pretty simple. They're saying we can't increase supply, and if they can't increase supply, that means they can't build inventory, because that's the biggest problem right now. There's not enough pork, there's not enough beef in cold storage, and already everybody's saying, by the way, if you haven't gotten your turkey, go get it, because everybody's saying we're going to be out of the Thanksgiving turkeys, so we might as well add to the chaos there. Patriot Radio News Hour. Get all of our stuff fixed. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. (800-951-0592). We got a couple lines open here. This is and again, listen, I think silver's going to rise about $3 in the next 90 days. Now, that could be 3 days. But it's actually not that hard, because it's so many things computer model driven, and then all the data that I know that's coming down the pipe. Today, it was University of Michigan. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a significantly worthwhile piece of information. It's called the University of Michigan, because that's who does the study, Consumer Sentiment Survey. Right? So they're calling people and asking them of what I'd like to describe very leading type questions. But Wall Street follows this number very heavily, because they feel like this is going to tell us whether or not the consumer is feeling good and going to keep spending money, right? So obviously, everybody's got that fixed level of expense, right? I got to pay my rent, I got to pay my mortgage, I got to pay my car payment, I got to pay my health insurance, I got to pay my student loans, right? I got to pay the power bill, the trash bill, this bill, that bill, the cable bill, the phone bill, blah 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 blah. That's the fixed stuff. And then of course, hey, I got to eat. But if they don't feel very confident, it's the extra stuff that they start cutting out. Right? Hey, I'm not taking that vacation, or I'm not going to the concert or to the basketball game or the football game or whatever it may be. The number plunged today to the lowest number since 2011. Jason, it's actually quite shocking, the drop that we've seen in consumer sentiment just in the last 90 days.
Yeah, people were pretty freaked out in 2011. So what's coming to me seems much worse than what happened back then. So we may not see the bottom of that number. There might be some room to keep going down on that one, Joe.
Well, and the problem is it's everything you see, right? I mean, here I'm saying, hey, go buy your turkey, right? Why am I saying go buy? Because the news won't stop talking about it. It's like they almost want to make sure there are shortages out there, and that freaks people out. There's no doubt about it. I'll give you a great example from my own personal experience. My wife's a very good cook. She is. It's why I tell everybody, I used to be a skinny guy. I did. And then I met my wife like 24 years ago. And she started making dinner. I went from the time I moved out of my parents' house till I was like 28 years old. So for like 10 years, from 18 to 28, I probably ate dinner, I don't know, 1 year total out of the 10. Right? Dinner was, if I did have dinner, dinner was like, a couple pitchers of beer. I just dinner. I don't make dinner. I'm not eating dinner. Then I met my wife, and she made, she started making, wait, you're going to make dinner every night? Yeah, so that's what happened. It's not my fault. And she's really good at it, so I like to eat it. But every Christmas, she makes this tenderloin filet. We have filet for Christmas. It's this big roast, if you will. I'll call it I don't know what to call it. Big, long filet thing. She gets it at Costco. We've done it every year for I don't even know how long. A long time. And one of these packages from Costco, full disclosure here, it's always around anywhere between $95 to $110, depending on the weight, right? But it's always right in between there. So she was out doing Thanksgiving shopping, and she said, "You know what? I'm just going to buy Christmas. I'm going to do it now and just put it in the freezer because I don't want to not have it for Christmas." It was $157 this time around. So that's the type of increase, Jason, we're talking about, and that rattles people.
It would rattle me. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that I was, I've always been good at not spending too much, and I've always been pretty good at saving a little bit here and there. But that's spending. I mean, it gets out of control. And then here's the thing: you got to buy things, like you said. There's those things that you depend on to stay at the same price. And even though you're saying those are fixed things, and everybody's not spending on these other things. How fixed are these fixed prices, Joe? That's what worries me the most is when the rent's going to go up, or I'm going to move to a new place, and the rent's going to be higher, and there's no cheaper choice. Lower standard of living, Joe, is what I see. I see people moving into lower standard of living. Hey, I have the $1,500 apartment. It's okay. Well, now I got to go move into the crappy one. That's like $300 a month cheaper because it's all I can afford because everything else that I have to get, which is like food and energy, is going up. So it's scary. It's scary when prices go up, especially if your income doesn't trail up with it.
Yeah, and again, it's one thing. Like I said, if it had been 120, my wife probably wouldn't have even noticed. She probably would have made, maybe this got a half pound more than what I normally get, right? It's within the ballpark. Well, 125. Okay, well, yeah, I know there's inflation. Okay, no, this was 150. What was it was like 157. Right? And she's like, "What? Wait, what? That's 50% more." And that's the part that really makes it crazy. And then you hear from JBS today, and they're like, "Hey, listen, we're operating at." Really, when you think about it, above full capacity. Because every one of our employees is working overtime. The problem is they're declining to work more overtime. Which means that the meat inventories aren't building. Which means we're going to have another year, right? And again, and then now it's any little thing. I mean, how about, COVID just came through the plants again. Because we know, right, with the vaccine, hey, here's what we've learned. Doesn't stop you from getting it. Doesn't stop you from spreading it, right? And after about 6 months or so, who knows what happened. And any little thing, a strike. Could you imagine a strike right now at a major meat packer? There's no room, Jason, for usual events to happen without there being negative connotations on what we pay for everything. And that really, and I'm using me today as the example just because my wife went out yesterday to do the shopping and came back and, that's all she wanted to talk about.
Well, what else is there to talk about, Joe?
Right? I mean, what else is there to it just so happened JBS released earnings last night. That's why we're talking about it. How about this one? This is another great one. You want to know how expensive things are going to get. This is from Indiana. The guy's name is Norm Welker. He was a farmer in Indiana. He had more than 1,000 acres. He had been doing this for decades. This is the last year they're going to be harvesting corn. He's still going to be a farmer, Jason, but he's going to be a farmer of the sun now. Apparently, he has rented out all of his land along with 62 other farmers in Indiana. They combine, well, I shouldn't say, I don't know if it was 62, dozens of neighbors. They're all leasing their land to create the world's largest solar farm. Roughly 13,000 acres. Now think about this now. This is all farmland, right? That's now being turned into solar power. Now I'm going to get to this is a great example of how expensive things are going to be. Just to give you perspective, the Indianapolis Colts play in Lucas Oil Stadium. So wherever, think about the Cardinal Stadium for us here in Arizona. You guys in Colorado got Mile High up there. I don't even know what they call it. I don't think they call it Mile High anymore, but you get the idea. Picture those, and these things are huge. Times it by 1,000. That's how much land we're talking about. It's called the Mammoth Solar Project. And what's going to happen in here in Indiana, this is the first of this one for at least a while. This will be the largest solar farm yet. So think about 13,000 acres. Now, not all of it was farmland, right? There were some trees and some, places where I'm sure there wasn't farmable, but the solar panels themselves, because you gotta spread them out, and you don't want to, have them too close to the road and this and that and the other. The solar panels themselves will cover over 2,500 acres of the 13,000. There will be roughly 2.85 million panels across this solar farm. Okay, so right, just in your mind, like, okay, that is huge. That must produce enough power to power all of Indianapolis, right, Jason? Has to be.
Yeah, I think so. So
2.85 million panels spread out, taking up, just the panels take up 2,500 acres, but you got to space them out in total 13,000 acres we needed to give. Ready for this? It's enough to power almost 250,000 homes. Almost. Right? So think about this. That wouldn't even power half of Mesa here in Arizona. Right? Not even 250,000 homes. This is the problem. Right? There's not enough. I don't know. Is there even enough land to get rid of coal and natural gas plants and all of this stuff? And now imagine, go fast forward into the future. And all these people got to plug their car in at night. That 250,000 number now goes down to 150,000? Right? Because all of a sudden now everyone's got to use more power. It makes absolutely no sense. But I couldn't believe the scope of it all, Jason. And now, I mean, just think about 13,000 acres of less corn being planted. Is that going to make the corn price go up or make the corn price go down?
Right. That was what I was going to say, Joe, is, when the farmers put these solar panels in their fields, that works really well if you were expecting less people to eat.
I just couldn't believe how little power that is. I mean, I was reading this article. I'm like, oh, my gosh. That's incredible. 2.85 million solar panels spread out and blah, blah, 13,000 acres.
I've seen some of these big solar farms, driving around there. It's ridiculous.
And they're, and of course, if they're willing to say, oh, well, almost 250,000, what does almost mean? Right? 200,000? I don't know. And is that operating at total peak power? What happens in 3 or 4 years as some of these panels break, or some kids go and decide to play
tornado
baseball bat to the solar panel?
A tornado.
You know what I'm saying?
A tornado blows them up.
A tornado. Oh my gosh. I didn't think about that. Oh, yeah, it's brilliant. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't worry, it's just transitory. $800-951-0592, the very last of this round of Silver Eagles. Maybe, I'm sure I'll get some here or there between now and when the 2022s come out, but it's going to be very, very limited. We got about 10 rolls of Silver Eagles left at $7.25. And again, I don't anticipate. Here's the problem. We're probably going to see $800 a roll silver here a lot sooner than people think. And then I see $1,000 roll silver. I see $1,200 roll silver, $1,500 a roll silver. It's crazy to think about it, Jason. But, when you get silver at 30, 40, 50 bucks, that's what you're going to be looking at.
Yeah, Joe, I could see gold and silver kind of trailing up slowly until about Thanksgiving. And I kind of, in my mind, what I kind of see happening is between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I think if shoppers aren't getting the things they need for a happy holiday season, you may start to see it start to move up towards the end of the year pretty quick.
Yeah, it's going to be up. More notes handed me. Okay. Oh, good. All right, hey, here's an update. I now have 35 rolls of Silver Eagles. 35. So there you go. How about just like that? We've been making calls everywhere all day. Take advantage. 800-951-0592. I've got about 50 rolls of dimes left. That seems dimes gotten really popular at $120 a roll, and then I've got quarters at $240. I'll still have dimes and quarters on Monday. They're just, probably going to be adding $5 to the roll of dimes, $10 to the roll of quarters at a minimum, and that's assuming silver cooperates and doesn't go above $25.50. But the Silver Eagles, this is it. I can't get any more, and I won't sell you something I can't get. 800-951-0592.
Joe, a roll of silver dimes is the only roll of silver you can get anywhere near $100. That's probably what it is.
It's so crazy. I remember when I first started here, Eric wouldn't even let you buy a roll of dimes.
Just wasn't enough.
No, wasn't enough. Nope, not doing that. Minimum was a quarter bag. So think about a quarter bag for dimes. That's 50 rolls of dimes.
Yep.
And that was it. He wouldn't take an order for less than that. That's how things have changed. Speaking of changing, man, this is private health insurance. Okay, so this isn't my insurance, right, where I got to go buy my own. This is, you work for a company, they offer you health insurance. According to Kaiser, in the last 10 years, family premiums, now this is just what you pay, have risen 47%. So really think about it. The employer probably ate half of it for you. So premiums are up 100%. But you got hit with 47. By the way, that's annualized. That's 4.7% inflation. They said your wages only grew 30%. Right? Whoops. I'm going backwards. By the way, they also said it's not just the premiums. Your deductibles, they're up even more, up 68% in the last 10 years. They're now saying that the annual premiums for family coverage reached $22,221. And that's what, the private guys pay. Now, they say that workers, hey, depending on the company you work at, you didn't get, all of that number, right? You get to pay a little less than that because your employer may pay some. But they're saying that premiums rose another 4% in 2020. Out of pocket, this is what you pay, up 68% in just the last 10 years alone. And they say that between the coverage, the $22,000 plus the deductible, health insurance now for a family of four, Jason, private, $24K a year.
Yeah, I mean, I could do a lot with $24,000 to give it to an insurance company. I'm not a big fan of insurance. I figure if you can mitigate your own risk in your daily life, and Joe, it was the Depression when the insurance companies couldn't pay. They started handing out IOUs, and man, I'm worried about what's going to happen with these insurance claims if we have a big market crash here, and insurance companies might not be able to pay.
It's really interesting, the bubble that has built up here. Michael Burry, the guy with the Big Short guy.
That's right.
He's been really, really active and went nuts. This was actually 2 nights ago, hammering the Federal Reserve and the SEC for creating the biggest speculative bubble in stocks and, really in the debt markets and inflation. He talked about an IPO. It was, and I may pronounce it wrong, Revivion. It is an electric car maker that hasn't actually, I don't even know if it's actually produced any cars yet. Has a market cap after its IPO bigger than General Motors, bigger than Ford. Of course, Tesla has the largest market cap of all, 4 times bigger than Toyota, which is the second largest, than VW, then China's BYD, Ford and General Motors near the bottom. But he's saying that between the Federal Reserve and the SEC, this is the most speculative stock market, more than was happening in the 1920s. We know what happened, obviously, the crash of 29. It's more overvalued than the 1990s, right? Talking about, the tech bubble. So think about this. More speculative than the 20s. I'll get to that in a minute. More overvalued than the 90s. More geopolitical and economic strife than the 70s. And they said, and of course he says, and the sideshow continues, saying everybody's talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, when really they should be talking about what the FCC and the Federal Reserve have been doing to get ready to destroy all of their wealth. We're going to talk about that next. Gold's up 3, 1867. Silver 25.40, up 10. By the way, back to 10 rolls of silver. They're going to be gone here. 7.25. The dimes and the quarters. Listen, it's cheaper price per ounce. Dimes 120, quarters 240. Trust me. Put them away today. They're going to be a lot less than they're going to be in the future. 800-951-0592. Now, I was talking about Michael Burry, okay, the Big Short. Okay, the guy that, hey, I've got proof about the housing. And he was right. We had the housing crash, the financial crash. He's doing it again. And was just hammering the Federal Reserve. And saying, we got all these sideshows, talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, right? The guy that used self-defense against the rioters and the looters. But everyone wants to talk about that and not what's really happening out in the world today. He goes, I've been vocal about warning. And our current stock market is just a bubble. People said I didn't warn last time. I did, but no one listened. So I warned this time. And still, no one listens. But I have proof I warned. Yet still, nobody listened. He says it's still too early. But make no doubts about it. Wall Street will be ruthless in the end. And I want to point out, let's talk about Bitcoin and all the other coins. Because it really bears understanding. Because none of us really, can't really use it for anything. I mean, really. And you have all these billionaires. Mark Cuban and Elon Musk and all of them, oh yeah, this is it. I want you to understand what they're really doing. They've got all the real estate they want. They don't want to buy debt. Well, I'm not buying a 10-year note at 1.5. No thanks. Believe me, all of them own gold. Don't be fooled. They own it. And they'll deny it, but I'm telling you. And I can't prove it, but I'm telling you they do. They've got so much money. They don't want it in the bank. So they're they're hoping that Bitcoin can somehow survive. And I say Bitcoin, but the whole digital coin thing, because again, I think China's a great example. By the way, you see what China's doing in their digital currency now? I heard they may do 30 or 40 billion just this month. And again, what did they do? As soon as they had their digital currency, what did they do? They outlawed Bitcoin. I mean, no, you can't do it anymore. And I think that's what's going to happen, but I don't know. But really, what is it that these billionaires are really telling you? I don't want my money in the bank because I know. Right? Michael Burry's right. This is absolutely a bubble. Right? I mean, think about it. Fed funds rate is still at 0. I mean, we're still buying. Okay, we lowered it by $15 billion. Actually, we haven't even done it. We'll do it on Monday. We're still buying over $100 billion of debt that we created out of thin air. And we've got the worst inflation problem in 40 years. I wonder what's going to happen. Right? And Jason, they simply don't want their money in the bank.
Michael Burry is also one of those guys that said the Dow and the S&P has been crashing this year. Like I had mentioned earlier in the year also, that even though the markets are going up because of this inflationary cycle we're in, you can see bear market in the mid and the small caps in the S&P. And there's actually a crash going on right now, and it's not going to take very long for the larger companies to start taking some losses, Joe.
Well, I think 2022 is going to be a really interesting year, but really think about it. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
man, I've got millions. I've got billions. Right? How much real estate do I need? Right? How much? They don't want to buy any more stock. They already got tons of stocks and this and that. And they're like, man, I can't leave it in the bank. It used to be, hey, at least I could buy a 10-year note and get 7 or 8%.
We need to start calling it what it is, too, by the way. It's crypto assets. These are not cryptocurrencies. These are not currencies. The IRS has already deemed Bitcoin as an asset, not a currency.
Yeah.
And so it's a stock. It's a stock without a company to actually buy into.
That's a good way of looking at it, right? And again, I will say in part of Biden's little plans, crypto is going to take another big. It's already going to be, the IRS is already taxing heavily, but it's going to be, I almost liken it to like marijuana. How, every time we need more money, let's just tax it more, right, Jason?
Well, with marijuana, you get something to smoke. There's actually something for you. Cryptocurrencies, yes. The whole idea is they throw money at something and it grows your money. Like everyone loves to do that with investments. But a currency, you don't go to the bank and get more money out and more dollars out, hoping that you're going to get you're going to marry the two $1 bills and get a baby $1 bill. It's not going to happen, But that's what they're looking. It's not a currency. It's an asset, and you're hoping that by throwing your money in, it's going to grow. And it's happening. I mean, it's happening. It's the new thing. But the crypto markets are so small that it just takes one of these billionaires, Joe, that you're talking about, to blow it up. And as soon as it hits whatever level, they'll just pull it all out.
And that's where all the money really is. A few billionaires are driving it all. But, hey, I like it. I like the fact that people are starting to realize, gosh, I can't leave it in the bank. That's really the message that's being sent. And I agree with that 100%. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment of the week coming up. Eight 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment of the really good week for gold and silver. Above all of the resistance levels, if you will, that have been holding it down. And again, as all of this plays out, every month as we get the next inflation report, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and everybody realizes there's nothing transitory about any of this, you're just going to continue to see higher and higher gold and silver prices. And then, I mean, really, I think the come to Jesus moment probably, Jason, is when inflation gets so high, is the Federal Reserve going to raise interest rates and crash the entire economy, right? I mean, I think that's really kind of
right.
What's going to happen. We're going to find out in 2022.
Yeah, and it's something you can't predict. I mean, you can predict, but I can't put a lot of stock in it. But I mean, early next year to middle next year, if things start to fall apart on a grand scale, this is not a fairy tale. But if everyone's looking for a safe place to park their assets or money, whatever whatever value they have stashed wherever, they're going to come run into gold. I mean, when it happens, the earth starts to shake, sort of thing. When all that money comes running into physical gold, and then there's no physical gold there, and they start to find out that paper gold, paper silver was a falsehood, you could see gold prices go $5,000 to $10,000. I mean, very quickly. It's something that we've never seen before, but it absolutely can happen, because where else you get put the money if everything else starts to show weakness all at once? Because it sure feels like all of it's going to be weak all at once. So usually it's like housing goes down or the stock market goes down. There's a couple of assets go down. There's always you can jump to one of the other ladders, but it seems like there's no ladders there. And if gold and silver and precious metals and the actual things you hold become the only thing that's safe to put your money in, as the prices keep skyrocketing upwards, they're going to find out how little gold there is, Joe, and that the price could just go parabolic.
Yeah, and I'll point out to you the money creation. There's never been this much money out there, and so when rushes happen, you're going to see prices go, and that's why we talk about. I mean, can oil go to $200? Or because there's so much money out there. Can we see gold? You know, we saw gold, let's face it, gold's risen in the last 7 trading days about $125.
That didn't take long.
We could be talking, we could be talking $1,000 because there's that kind of money that's been created out there. And again, when everybody runs, you know, it's kind of like this, you know, someone yelling fire in the movie theater, right? And everyone's trying to run for the exits, and everyone's getting trampled. Those are the things that, you know, you hate to see them, but it sure looks like it's really almost seemingly easy to see and predict when you really step back and look at what they've done and how much money they've created, and the fact that, listen, we just had the worst inflation numbers. I don't care how you count it. The best way, the worst inflation number in 31 years. The worst way, it's inflation from the 70s and beyond. And what did they do? Nothing. They didn't do anything. They didn't have an emergency meeting. They didn't have any meeting. Patriot Radio News Hour. Get that silver put away. We'll be back on Monday. God bless everybody. 800-951-0592. The half-empty cup of Joe. Jason and I will be right back.